Hello and welcome to the Rainy Night Listens podcast. I'm Haley.
And I'm Wyatt, and this is the podcast that you save for a rainy night instead of a rainy day. It has started. Where's my mouse? Oh, there it is.
Time.
It is time.
I
don't know what song we're doing, sorry.
It's your turn!
Okay, I'm sorry. Alright, and today we are doing Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah.
Are we allowed to sing the song?
No, probably not.
It's not Five Nights at Freddy's. That's not what the song is.
Five Nights at Reginald's. Anyways.
Come and get some pizza.
Before I continue, disclaimer, if anyone comments saying that I am incorrect in any way, you will be ignored, and your comment will amount to nothing.
It'll be me on different accounts. I'm just gonna create like 50 burner accounts, and I'm like, geez, get a load of this guy.
Everybody knows that this happened at this time.
This guy doesn't even know.
But yes, don't leave any hateful comments. I will not be listening. And I already know that some of this is incorrect because there's way too many gaps in this timeline to make like a 100% accurate timeline. And yeah, this will also take multiple episodes, if you couldn't tell by what, like the extensive amount of games that are out. Anyways.
Yeah. I feel like the amount of lore behind this game is, these games are, it's insane.
Yeah, it is. Like, I already knew a lot. I tried to keep up to date on the lore, but, like, when I went in to make my own timeline of it and, like, all that, I was learning way more that I didn't know previously. Like, it's just, it's so crazy. But we're going to start by introducing some characters. We have these guys. These three guys that you see are kind of the ones you'll hear about the most in today's video. Says characters we will be working with and their relations. We have William Afton. Everybody knows who Purple Guy is.
Oh, yeah.
The man behind the slaughter. Purple Guy. Then we've got Henry Emily. Probably a sad guy once you find out what happens. You don't get to know what happens to him yet, but those two are business partners, as I wrote right there. They are the ones who start Fazbear Entertainment, basically the company who owns all of the stuff you see through most of the games. And then, because of the game that came out this year, Secret of the Mimic introduces Edwin Murray. Also a very important guy, also a sad guy, and a bad father. You'll learn why in today's episode.
Perfect.
And then, in the next one, a lot of these characters won't be talked about today, but some of them will be. So, William's family, he has, his oldest son is Michael. I didn't try gathering the ages because this spans over multiple years, multiple games, so the ages change the entire time. So I'm just going to tell you the kids' names.
Okay.
You have Michael. He is the oldest son. That one, the third picture. Then you've got Evan, the youngest son.
The crying child.
The crying child, yes. Everybody knows him as the crying child. But I guess somewhere down the line they figured out that his name was Evan. I'm not even going to try to get into how that happened. It was a weird whole thing. And then William's third child is Elizabeth. She, like I said, these three won't be covered in today's episode, but I just figured I'd get them out there now. And then we've got Henry's daughter, Charlotte. Also won't be talked about today, but getting the names out there. The ones we'll mostly be focusing on today will be Edwin's family. We've got Edwin Murray Sr. That is Edwin Murray's father. By the time we start this, he's already deceased. And we've got Fiona Murray, Edwin's wife, and David, his son. Those will be the three that we're mostly working on today.
And so they're based on the new game that just came out?
Yeah, they're the ones.
Okay.
Like, the entirety of Edwin's family is only referenced, to my knowledge, in Secret of the Mimic. None of the other games have any reference to them.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then we've got my timeline.
Cry.
Cry, yes, I'll try and cry. This hurt me to make. It was a lot, but if any of this is wrong or out of place, I tried to make it obvious, like, oh, like the question mark, or, you know, like 1972 question mark? We don't know for sure. I will do a quick rundown. I'll just try to read it quickly, and then we'll get to the actual story that I'm covering today.
Okay.
So we've got our timeline. Prior to 1970, this is when Edwin's father passes away and David Murray is born.
Okay.
Around 1970 is when those two events happen. Prior to 1970. And then in 1970 is Fall Fest. Actually, I may have gotten that wrong. I think David is born in 1970. But anyways, we don't talk about that. 1970 is Fall Fest. Fall Fest is actually a really important event in the Five Nights at Freddy's games. It's not really talked about much later on. But at the beginning, Fall Fest is, I believe, when, like, the event that kind of started Henry and Williams, like, when they kind of met together to start Fazbear Entertainment, because before they both worked separately, and Fall Fest, I think, is what brought them together.
It was kind of like the beginning of, like, their business partnership.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is Fall Fest then?
It's like, it's an event where people will take just, I think, business ideas and, like, showcase them. And this is where, like, this was back when you've got Golden Freddy, which is Fredbear, and Spring Bonnie, which is Springtrap. This was back when they were costumes. They weren't actual, like, animatronics. It was back when they were just costumes that they would wear and,
gotcha,
you know, control, like, you know, mascot costumes.
Okay.
Stuff like that. This is also where Edwin's father would take his costumes as well, because Edwin's father would make costumes for other characters and stuff, like mascots and stuff like that. And Fall Fest is an annual thing, so it happens multiple years. You know, I think, to our knowledge, it happens for, like, 10-ish years. Like, that's how many times we've, like, maybe heard a Fall Fest reference throughout the games.
Okay.
It's mostly, like, the beginning ones, like 1970 and 1972, because as you see it may have been 1972. This is when Edwin's wife dies at Fall Fest.
Oh, jeez.
I know, very sad, very sad.
Do we know what happened to her?
From what I've read, it was a fire. One of the attractions caught fire, and she was one of the people who responded first to try to fix it, and ended up dying in the fire.
Gotcha.
And I read somewhere that they actually, some of the mini games, I think in FNAF 2, it's either FNAF 2, well, it's I think FNAF 2 and Pizzeria Simulator, or it's one or the other. There are mini games that might hint at that fire, like what could have caused that fire.
Oh, interesting.
The mini games you play in the games are what give most of the lore. The games themselves are just, you know, kind of the horror aspect of it. But the mini games are what kind of actually give you the lore in small doses.
Okay.
Yeah, like, one of the websites I was referencing did a lot of, like, this year is when this minigame took place. Like, the events of this minigame. I tried. We won't hear about most of them today, because, like I said, this is Secret of the Mimic. Secret of the Mimic has, like, one minigame, but I won't be talking about it, so.
Okay.
But, yeah. Then we've got 1973 to 1974. That's when M1 is made. So Edwin, I won't specify yet. Like I said, I'll do that later.
Okay, deal.
And then around 1975, David, Edwin's son, dies. So he's 5, I think.
Do we know what happened to him?
I believe he got hit by a car.
Ah.
Yeah. That's what I read, at least. Like I said, some of this information might not be correct, but the game's new enough that there's not a whole lot of websites about it yet on the internet. We've just kind of got, like, the main fandom, and that's it. Most of this stuff hasn't been put up there yet.
Okay.
But, and as well as in 1975, it's the possible opening of Chica's Party World. Yeah.
Ooh.
You'd think that it was Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria that opened first, but it's actually Chica's Party World was one of the first areas opened.
Interesting.
I'll do a little bit more, talk a little bit more on that later on in today's episode. And in 1978, question mark? That's one of those times where I'm not sure if that's actually the date.
Mm-hmm.
But it says that's when William and Henry start Fazbear Entertainment. See, so about 8 years after the initial Fall Fest, I think they're still working on their separate projects, but they meet each other, or maybe I read somewhere that they may have been college roommates. I don't know if that's real or not, but either way, I think this is what brought them back. If they knew each other before, this is what brought them back together.
Okay.
But if not, this is where they met, was in Fall Fest, and then later on they got together and started Fazbear Entertainment.
Okay.
And then 1979 is when The Secret of the Mimic takes place, the game that I'll be covering mostly today, as well as possibly the opening of Fredbear's Family Diner. So the first location that Fazbear Entertainment opens together, when it's both Henry and William.
So, did William start Chica's Party World, or was that Henry?
That was Henry.
Oh, okay.
Henry's the one who owned Chica's Party World.
And then William came in, and then together they made
Fazbear Entertainment.
Okay.
And then opened Fredbear's Family Diner.
Okay.
Yeah. And then that's as far as we'll be covering in today's episode, so we could just cut off me doing the rundown of the timeline there so we can get into the main information. What do you prefer? Because I can cover the rest of this.
I'm interested in knowing all of it, so I'm totally fine continuing on this slide if you're okay with that.
All right. I'll continue. I'll try to make it quick, though, so we're not just covering the timeline the entire episode.
Deal.
But yeah, and then in 1983... Freddy Fazbear's Pizza opens. That's the one that everybody knows with the 4 main animatronics: Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, and Foxy.
Okay.
And as well as Fredbear and Friends airs. That's a TV show that they started. And then FNAF 4 pre-night minigames take place. Like I said, the minigames give a lot of backstory.
Mm-hmm.
I won't expand on that, but that's very important, is FNAF 4's pre-night minigames.
Okay.
And then also in 1983, a lot happened in 1983.
Yeah, it looks like it.
It's got 2 continuations. In 1983, the Bite of 83 happened as well, which I'm not allowed to expand on yet. You have to wait a whole episode. I was just
gonna ask too. I couldn't remember because there's 2 bites, isn't there?
Yeah, you've got the Bite of 87 and the Bite of 83.
Okay.
But that same year is the death of Evan, William's younger son. And Marionette is created, and the death of Charlotte, who is Henry's only child.
Okay.
I guess some people think that he has a second child, but you only really focus on Charlotte, his daughter. So if he has a second child, I don't know anything about it, so there's that. And then even more in 1983, Fredbear Family Diner closes.
Fair.
Yeah, Fredbear's Family Diner closes, so about 4 years after it opens, it closes, and then Fredbear and Friends is canceled, and FNAF 4 takes place in 1983. And then I think it's either 1983 or between 1983 and 1984, the creation of Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals. That is William specifically, that's not with Henry.
Oh, okay.
That's him separate from Henry. He started a thing called Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals. Like I said, you don't get to know about any of this stuff yet. I'm just giving the milestones right now. And then this is our timeline continued. In 1985 was the missing children incident, and Freddy Fazbear's Pizza closes.
I didn't realize that much time passed
between when it opened and when...
Yeah.
Yeah, me neither. Like I said, in my brain, this kind of all happened around the same time, but no, there's years in between some of these things.
That's crazy. Sorry.
No, you're good. And then FNAF, in 1987, FNAF 2 events take place, which means the Bite of 87, the opening of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza second location, and it closed the exact same year.
That's not great.
Yeah, the Bite of 87, that kind of was a problem.
Yeah, not the best. Not really what you want, especially whenever there's children involved.
Yeah, and your frontal lobe getting crushed.
Yeah, not the most fun.
But then in 1993, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza 93 opens. See, I read a thing and it was like, oh yeah, Freddy Fazbear Pizza 93. It was like it opened in 1990, and I'm like, why is it titled Freddy Fazbear's Pizza 93 if it opened in 1990? So I think that may have been a typo or it's maybe incorrect.
Oh.
Or maybe I'm just crazy, but they literally named it Freddy Fazbear. Like, in the thing I read, it was named Freddy Fazbear's Pizza 93. So, like, why would it be opened not in 93 if they called it 93 in the article I read,
Yeah, that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. And then the events of the week before happen. That is a important point with Phone Guy, who's a character that talks to you in Five Nights at Freddy's 1. It's basically him recording the lines that you listen to in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, as well as him dying, because he died on the fourth night, I believe. Like, he recorded one every night. One, and that he was going to do it 5 days. Obviously, it always takes place 5 days. But on the fourth night, he was killed by the animatronics. So.
Oh.
Yeah, and
so
then
the first game was set in 93?
Yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's 1 takes place in 1993. So yeah, like if you look, I'm not going to try to 100% put these games in order, but the first one was Secret of the Mimic, and then Five Nights at Freddy's 4, and then 2, and then 1.
Interesting. So Secret of the Mimic would technically be the first thing chronologically.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
All right. Had a bit of technical difficulties, but we're back.
We are back.
So where I left off, I was just naming them off chronologically. We talked about 1993. Oh yeah, and then 1993 continued. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza 93 closed. It closed the same year it opened, just like the second location did.
That's what you want for a business. Yeah,
they're doing really great. Everything they have started has ended except for Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals, because, it was like, I can't talk about it yet.
You really faked me out on that one.
I didn't mean to, but like I was like about to start like autism lore dumping you, and I'm like, wait, I can't do that. I'm here to do that, but in an organized way. Okay, but in the mid to late 90s, Circus Baby's Party World was one of Williams' plans to open.
Uh-huh.
And it didn't.
Okay.
I wonder why. It's definitely not the next event I have named on the same year. The death of his daughter Elizabeth. And then sister location takes place. Obviously, that's in Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals. Basically, in case I don't say this later when I cover this, Circus Baby's Party World did like a soft opening, and then Elizabeth died at the soft opening. They disguised it as a gas leak. They moved the animatronics back to Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals.
Oh, okay.
And then the events of sister location takes place.
Okay.
And then mid to late 90s continued. William gets spring locked. Michael gets scooped.
Two very cryptic.
The entire Afton family has experienced pain at this point now.
Pain.
The entire Afton family. The father and the 3 kids by this point. And then in 2023, Fazbear Fright was announced. FNAF 3 takes place, and Fazbear Fright burns down the same year.
I don't know a lot about business.
They need to keep lighters away from any of their locations.
Yeah, I feel like this guy is just cursed. Just maybe stop.
Yeah, William is a piece of garbage. I feel like the amount of bad luck he has is justified, but I don't think his kids should have gotten wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
But, and also 2023 question mark, Pizzeria Simulator takes place, and then afterwards Ultimate Custom Night takes place. So that's all like our rough timeline of games. We've got what? Secret of the Mimic, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, Sister Location, 3, Pizzeria Simulator, Ultimate Custom Night, and then Help Wanted, Freddy Fazbear's Pizzaplex, Security Breach, Help Wanted 2, and then Security Breach Ruin.
Jeez, so this goes like clear into the future too.
Yeah, this goes past where we're living currently.
Dang.
Yeah, and then 2029 is when Help Wanted takes place. 2030 is Freddy Fazbear's Pizzaplex opens. 2035, Security Breach takes place at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzaplex. And then 2035 to 2036, Help Wanted 2 takes place, and Security Breach Ruin takes place. That is our timeline.
Wow.
If I am wrong, don't say anything. I won't read it. But,
don't worry. Again, it'll be me saying it. So.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of hate from Haley. Yeah, that is the timeline that I have put together. I hope it's gives a good, somewhat understanding of the events without me explaining them yet. And yeah, we'll get into the meat of today finally, about like 20 minutes in.
Hey, this has all been very enlightening, so.
I'm glad. That's my goal. Oh my gosh, look at it!
It's time!
It's time! Is he ready? Is he ready? Where is he? I can't see him. I'm blind. Help.
Do he be ready?
Help, I'm blind. Of. There it is.
You heard it here first.
Oh man. I wasn't ready. Were you ready?
I wasn't.
Yeah, I don't think either of us were ready.
But I'm still grateful that I was here to hear it in person.
Me too. I'm glad I could experience this firsthand and not through a audio recording like these guys.
I like that clouds opened up and the heavens sang.
The angel descended upon the earth. All right, and then here is the beginning, 1970 to 1974. I say the beginning, but like technically, like I said, it somewhat predates 1970 with Edwin's father dying. But I'll just read it as I wrote it because I don't remember how I was gonna go about this anyway.
Okay.
It says, I've read some stuff saying that William and Henry met at Fall Fest 1970, but I've also read that they knew each other beforehand. Either way, to my knowledge, Fall Fest 1970 played a big part in the creation of Fazbear Entertainment's beginning. Like I said, I believe they met or re-met up there and decided to work with each other. Mm-hmm. Around this time, Edwin Murray's father passes away, meaning the company falls to Edwin to manage the entirety. It's called like Murray's Costume Manor. It's a big company for making mascots and costumes. That was pretty much the basis of it, was costumes and mascots. So they didn't have the animatronics or any of the endoskeleton stuff going on yet.
But it was just like strictly mascot type costumes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then around this time, David, Edwin's son, is born. Edwin was unsure if he could uphold his father's legacy. I mean, his father started this company and, built it up, and now it's on Edwin's shoulders. So it's like, it's a lot of weight to just fall on you out of the blue.
Yeah.
And around this time...
Because now, not only are you grieving the passing of your father, you've also got an entire company depending on you.
Exactly. But after some words of encouragement from those around him and his wife, Fiona Murray, he decided to take the challenge on. He wanted to make the characters more than costumes. This led to animatronics as well as other creations like household robots. He started the whole like endoskeleton thing, or like making them animatronics, not just suits. And it's funny because some of the household robots he made were kind of interesting. One was like a little vacuum robot that would vacuum the house for you, but it could like change its own size so it could fit into smaller places and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. I watched, I did some research on Secret of the Mimic, but I didn't. It's hard to retain information, but yeah, he had some pretty cool ones up on there. But it says he was very ambitious with work and would tend to take on more than he could handle. So like he got really good at it, got confident, started making the company good again, making a bunch of amazing projects, but he didn't know when to say no and he didn't know when to stop.
Gotcha.
And sometime from 1970 to 1972, I believe Fiona Murray died in a fire at Fall Fest. This led to Edwin working on M1 and also led him to neglecting his son David, as shown in the film reels. They are in Secret of the Mimic. I wish I could show them, but I doubt I could just one-to-one show you films that were in a video game. But I kind of explain on the films a little bit more on the next slide anyways. But
so what exactly is M1?
M1 is the first Mimic. The premise of Mimic, here I can even skip forward to the Mimic project, that second line. The original purpose of the Mimic project was to make an endoskeleton capable of being any character for any occasion.
Oh.
So depending on what personality it had would just depend on what suit it was wearing. So it could mimic every single mascot, the mannerisms of that mascot and stuff.
Interesting.
So
okay.
So it would
horrifying.
Yeah, it would save on costs because one size fits all. It could shrink itself and make itself bigger to fit in different suits. Like it wasn't just only fits in a person size suit. It could make itself smaller. Like it could shrink itself and make itself taller. Like they show it in one part of the game. It's like arms are like pistons that will shrink up so it can be little, and it can also get bigger again. It's really cool.
That is cool.
But
I hate it.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It would also just mimic those around it. I believe when he made M1, it would he sometimes would have it wandering around the costume manor, and it would just interact with people, and they would copy them, just do random stuff around. So it was a trusted part of his little company.
Yeah, it's just unsettling.
Yeah, it's just really cool. Unsettling. But yeah, it also led him to neglect his son David because one, he was getting too ambitious with his work, and then his wife died, and so he kind of didn't do a good job of being a father after that. And here it says, leading to 1975 through 1979. In the films of David's birthday parties, it shows, so yeah, it's I think 4 or 5 films. Each one is just David's birthday party that year. Starting at 1970, that was... Okay, so he was born pre-19... I may have gotten some information wrong. It's weird. I was referencing...
I'm going to comment.
I was referencing 2 different websites right here, so it was kind of hard to keep the information smooth sailing.
That's fair. There's a lot of information and a lot of years, so you're good.
Thank you. It says, in the films of David's birthday parties, it shows 1970 to be a normal birthday. Both, Fiona and Murray, they're with their son, talking to him, being parents. Mm-hmm. And then in 1971, the film that we see is Fiona is upset and angry at Edwin because Edwin is upstairs working on stuff rather than being at his son's birthday party and being part of it. Edwin, this is, like I said, him being too ambitious and was prioritizing his work over his family life. And then prior to the 1972 birthday, Fiona dies at Fall Fest, which,
Gotcha.
Impacted everything.
Yeah.
And then in the 1973, I don't think we get a film for this one, but going off of pictures that are in the background of the game, his 1973 birthday, Edwin didn't even hang out with David. He left him in a place called the Storytime Den at his work with a couple of the characters just there to keep him distracted and happy and stuff. And then after that, later on, he introduces David to M1, the mimic that he created.
Okay.
And what he did was he started feeding M1 a lot of Fiona's like clips of her voice, because he did a lot of recording of people's voices for characters. He started feeding M1 clips of Fiona's voice while she was talking and acting like just how she would as his wife. And M1, because he wanted M1 to copy Fiona. It's kind of weird. He's a weirdo for that. So he made M1 copy Fiona and kind of act as his wife and the mother for David.
Oh.
Yeah, just to kind of fill that gap. It's awful.
Yeah, that's so sad.
But then in 1974, we've got another film reel in 1974. Edwin gifts David with a slide, and Fiona at M1 wishes him a happy birthday. Like in the video, M1's the one recording, and you see like a little slide in the background, and then I think the camera turns around. It's just a naked endoskeleton, so like just the metal and wires and stuff. Like talking in Fiona's voice to David, like, you're doing great,
oh my
like that kind of stuff. It's so cursed.
That's so awful.
And then the next year, in late 1975, before David's 5th birthday, David was hit by a car and died while M1 was supposed to be watching him. I know. It's like, what did you expect? You know? Like, it was kind of just straight up on it. All of this is Edwin's fault. Like, he's just a terrible father at this point. But it says, after David's death, M1, Fiona, convinced Edwin to make another mimic to be David.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, yeah, me and my robot family.
Wow. Okay.
And then
he's definitely mentally well.
Yeah, he's definitely in the right headspace for this kind of work.
Everything's fine. No one should have been checking on him or anything.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And then right here I put, on a side note, this was supposedly the year Chica's Party World opened, owned by Henry.
Okay. And so it's still pre-Fazbear Entertainment.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then later on, around 1978...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I didn't even realize I made that the very next line, but you're good. I
just read it
word
for word.
It kind of like 180s really hard and switches to Henry and William for a second. And then I think at the end I kind of round it back together why they're important.
Oh.
It says, later on, around 1978, Henry and William started Fazbear Entertainment and would start commissioning Edwin for a project known as the Fazbear Project, which I put on the next slide. Fazbear Project was creating a new band for their upcoming pizzeria known as Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. Some of the changes, I can't read the rest of that yet, but, that's the characters everybody knows of and sees. Like we talked about opening the first time and then closing and then opening in 93 and then closing again.
Mm-hmm.
They were commissioning Edwin to make those characters, the main 4 that you see in the games.
Okay.
And then we've got, let's see. However, they kept changing the idea and designs last minute, which put Edwin over budget and led to him refusing the changes. And now I can read the rest of the next slide. It says, some of the changes requested were to switch from spring lock suits to endoskeletons. So they didn't, originally they wanted these characters to be spring lock suits, which means that they could work as animatronics by themselves, as well as someone could climb into them and control them like a costume.
Uh-huh.
But then they later wanted to change it to not be spring lock suits. And this, was a big change for Edwin. Is like, well, I can't freaking do that. It's been like...
Yeah.
I've already spent all the money working on this.
Those are 2 very different designs.
Yeah. Ones that could actually shift and change to be a suit rather than just a skeleton.
Yeah.
But, they wanted them to be endoskeletons as well as changes to the designs. Fiona's designs. Fiona helped make some of the characters that Edwin worked on. So, like, right here I wrote, fun fact.
Fiona animatronic, or endoskeleton, came up with these?
This was pre-Fiona.
Oh, okay. I was like, what the? Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. This was, remember, Henry opened Chica's Party World. I didn't get a picture of it on screen, but Chica and Foxy were both originally Fiona's designs, not Henry or William's designs.
Okay.
She came up with the characters originally, but they changed them to what they are in that picture right there, because Chica looked very different. I don't know what original Foxy looked like, but I feel like it just kind of fed into Edwin's downward spiral, is that they kept trying to change what his wife did, which I'm sure,
wasn't great.
Yeah, affected him really hard. But then we've got, they kept changing the idea, putting him over budget, and he would refuse the changes because he's like, these are my wife's designs, I'm not going to change them.
Yeah.
And I can't just switch them to not be spring lock suits. I'm too far into development for that.
Yeah, like it's done.
Yeah. And then it said, this led to William and Henry to start sabotaging Edwin's company in secret. Like I said, terrible individuals.
Great.
It says, leading to a loss of employees because they'd start stealing his employees, like talking them into working for them for better conditions and stuff like that. As well as they had someone work as a spy in Murray's costume manor. And it says, and a spy leaking Edwin's projects to Fazbear Entertainment. After learning about the Mimic project, Fazbear Entertainment wanted it no matter the cost. Because it's a very nice, concept, a character that could wear any outfit and be any character. And they wanted it at any cost. Eventually, Edwin ran out of money. He was understaffed, overworked, he had way too many projects that he had to have done by a certain time. Didn't have any money, lost his family, everything was just bad.
Yeah.
A lot of it was his fault, though. I mean, you can't really feel bad for the guy. He did this to himself.
Yeah.
And it says he ran out of money, and the land that the costume manor was on, as well as his house, because they were on the same plot of land, were taken over by Fazbear Entertainment. Like, they bought it when it fell out from under him. And then William offered Edwin the role of lead engineer and allowed him to stay in his house. And they weren't going to mess with his house at all. They're like, you can keep living in your house, bud. We won't change it. This is a great offer for you. You should...
Seems like they're definitely going to change it.
Yeah. I feel like they were just kind of making it like the too good to be true kind of thing. Because then they could just control Edwin rather than need to get things from him.
That makes sense.
And then there's my side notes. And then, which we already read through the side notes. And then around 1979... somewhere down the line, I don't know what year exactly, Edwin buckled under the stress of things, as we fully expected, and decided to transfer Fiona's personality out of M1 and put it into a machine named F10-N4, which it just spells out Fiona,
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, it took me a minute, but in the game, the voice of F10-N4 is Fiona's voice, so it makes it a lot easier to put together. But... he then decided to, when he was working on M2, the second one for David, it didn't work. He couldn't get it to work like M1 worked, so he eventually just didn't use it.
Okay.
And then this happened, and he then decided to use M1's endoskeleton for M2. So, the one that he was going to have be David, he was literally saying stuff like, you're not my wife, stop using her voice. It's like, bro, you did that. You're the reason why it's your wife.
Who caused this to happen.
Yeah.
You've created this whole thing. You can't be mad that it's doing what you created it to do.
Yeah. So he was freaking out and took her consciousness out of it, or her personality out of it, and then used the mimic endoskeleton for M2. Which he would hope to be David. But then after the events of Fazbear Entertainment taking over, Edwin, in a fit of rage, attacked M2 when it started mimicking David because he was stressed out. It started doing what he wanted it to do, but he was just so stressed and so, everything fell on him at the same time that he was like, no, you're not my son, blah, blah, blah. Starts literally attacking it, attacking the creation he made. And because I'm sure, the whole thing with Fiona, personality. He's like, okay, I need the whole robot family thing is not okay. Yeah. This is probably when it finally dawned on him that he couldn't make a robot family, but it was too late for that. He got angry when it started mimicking David. He attacked it, and then M2 in return started mimicking these feelings and actions, because M2 not only mimics characters, it mimics people's actions and people's personalities.
Oh no.
So it took to his anger and his rage and his actions of like violence, and in return started mimicking these feelings. Soon after, M2 set off an explosion in Edwin's office, severely injuring Edwin.
My gosh.
Yeah. And then this is the one I told you about before, where it was like,
oh yeah,
while Edwin was trying to plead for help from M2, M2 was mimicking Edwin's neglectful behavior towards David. So Edwin being like, M2, please get help. I can't feel my legs.
Yeah.
And then M2's like, oh, that's funny because I just built myself a new pair of legs and they work perfectly fine and stuff like that, like just screwing with him.
That's so awful.
He's like, please get help, and he's like, literally in Edwin's voice saying back, oh, don't worry, bud, ask your mom about it, because that's how Edwin treated his son.
That's so creepy.
It's so screwed up, but it's like, it came full circle. Something, divine intervention was going to happen no matter what. Maybe not divine. Maybe not divine, but intervention nonetheless. But it started to mimic Edwin's neglectful behavior towards David, like I said, using Edwin's voice to talk to him, how he talked to David, like, don't worry about it, maybe some other time, we'll do it tomorrow, ask your mother, that kind of stuff, like, just ignoring him saying, like, I need help, go get help. And then it says, basically meaning, while Edwin was dying, M2 made him face how he treated his own son. And then technically we don't know if Edwin died or not. I think he did. I don't see how he could have survived this.
Yeah.
I guess there's like a book, and then the books are like different stories but have the same characters.
Okay.
In that one, in that one Edwin did survive. But like I said, that's a different story, different circumstances.
Okay.
In this story, I think Edwin died. I'm pretty sure he died. I don't think the mimic would keep him alive.
Yeah.
After everything, because it literally, like, as I was reading, it was like the mimic almost like developed like hatred towards Edwin, which technically it could. It's only their copying feelings and stuff, but I feel like they were making it sound like it was developing its own personal hatred towards Edwin, which is entirely justified.
Yeah.
I might add, like, I don't see how that's unjustified. So I don't think Edwin survived. Then after that, M2 went on to start killing Fazbear Entertainment employees that were trying to get the Mimic project, because after Edwin mysteriously stopped responding, stopped talking to Fazbear Entertainment, they're like, all right, this is our perfect opportunity to get that juicy project he was working on. Started sending in technicians to find it, but none of the technicians came back. So they're like, oh no, gotta keep sending bodies. Eventually one of them will figure it out. And
might as well just keep doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, that definitely works.
Result.
That's definitely not the definition of insanity.
No, not at all.
But then it says Fiona, well, the machine in the basement, Fiona, did her best to keep M2 contained, as well as stopping others from getting their hands on the Mimic project, because she still had Fiona's personality. Although she didn't have legs or anything, she was a machine, she still wanted M2 to be her son, which is really sad.
That is sad.
And so she didn't want people to come in and steal it, but she didn't want it to get out either. So she was containing it and keeping people out and stuff like that. It was really sad because it's just the personality she was programmed to have.
Yeah.
But after this, the events of Secret of the Mimic take place, where you play as a technician sent by Fazbear Entertainment. I forget his name, but he basically goes in and tries to do the same thing all the other technicians do. He tries to get his hands on the Mimic project, the schematics for the Mimic, so they can build their own. And if he could, contain the mimic and take it so they could have that one specifically too, M2. And from what I've read, the canon ending for Secret of the Mimic is the good ending, because that game has 3 endings. It has the bad ending, where you collect all the information, you collect like the schematics and stuff like that, and you just give it to Fazbear Entertainment.
Oh.
And then as you're leaving the building, the mimic hides in your van and kills you as you're driving away.
Jeez, okay.
Yeah. And then the good ending, you get the schematics, and when they ask you to give them the schematics, you say no, you get on the computer that's in the room with you, and it activates a security program called like parachute.exe, and when you activate it, a hatch in the floor opens up, because you can't leave the room. They lock you in there until you give them the schematics.
Oh.
And parachute.exe opens a hatch in the floor, and this allows you to navigate your way to Edwin's house, because like I said, it's on the same grounds as the manor.
Okay.
You navigate your way to his house. The mimic is still pursuing you this whole time, like wearing like broken animatronic suits at this point, because it like couldn't one of the last times you meet it is in like the basement in like the parts room, and so it like dives into a pile of parts and just like makes itself a suit, so it's like got just like pieces of different animatronics on it. But basically Edwin activates the thing, like it's called cradle.exe. It's a program that's supposed to contain the mimic. He contains it, and then he just leaves. He quits from Fazbear Entertainment. He isn't going to give that to them, I don't think, and he's not going to, let the mimic go free. I think it just contains it there. He goes to leave. As he's driving away, the mimic, hiding in his van again, not hiding, it literally like is on top of his van as he's driving away, as well as a bunch of other animatronics, like all the household ones that I was talking about that Edwin made. He had a bunch that were just random pieces put together, like household products, vacuums, this kind of stuff, toasters, everything. Like he was making everything in animatronic, and they all being controlled by M2, and like kind of, I think M2, I don't know. Anyways, all the animatronics tried to close in on him. He crashed the van. The van lights on fire, and while it's on fire, M2 walks up and takes the data diver that has all the information on it and just wanders into the forest, escaping.
Jeez.
And that's the ending that everybody thinks is the canon ending. So your character still ends up dying, which is really sad. And then also, I think Edwin's house and the costume manor end up burning down, I think thus following the pattern of the game where all the areas end up burning down.
Everything burns.
And yeah, that's the ending that everybody believes is the canon ending. And then the secret ending is the one with the mini game that I was telling you about.
Oh.
You have to collect a bunch of collectibles throughout the games, and then you have to beat the game. And then in New Game Plus, which is when you replay the game, there's another secret collectible you can find that is David's stuffed teddy bear, his favorite toy, his first one that his dad ever gave him. And when you do that ending, there's a mini game that requires you to have all the collectibles. You go through the mini game on the computer, and then you do the events of the good ending where you make your way to Edwin's house through like the secret passages. And then because you did the mini game, you're given access to areas that are locked normally. Then you go around and collect a bunch of little cartridges that have like stories on them, like stories that Edwin or Fiona would tell David before bed. You collect them all. When you collect them all, you get access to David's bedroom. And then when you make it your way into David's bedroom, M2 is in there waiting for you.
Oh.
And you put the stuffed animal down on a pedestal, and then M2 comes out, and a storybook is in front of you, and you like click buttons to continue the story. And as long as you keep the story going start to finish, M2 won't attack you, because it's like switching between anger mode and David personalities. So it's like trying to go after you, but once the story starts playing, it shrinks down to the size of David. So like a 5-year-old is like sitting there like fidgeting like a 5-year-old would, like listening to the story all happy. And if you get the whole story start to finish, it like picks up the teddy bear that you had collected and then lays on the bed and shuts off.
Jeez,
it's really really dark.
Devastating.
It's really sad, huh?
Holy cow, yeah.
That's the secret ending. Most of the time, I think the secret ending is the canon ending, but I don't think that one's the canon ending. And most of the people online don't think it's the canon ending either. I think it's the one where your character crashes the van because M2 and a bunch of little animatronic household appliances are attacking him, and then M2 steals the data diver and just wanders off into the woods.
Gotcha.
But
I feel like that would make more sense.
Yeah, M2 does show up again because he's not in any of the games 1 through 4, either of the Help Wanted. Okay, he might be in the second Help Wanted game, but he's basically not in any of the games up until the point of, where is it? Where's my mouse? Right here. Security Breach Ruin. That's the next time you see M2.
So it goes from the very first game to one of the last ones chronologically?
So yeah, let's see. From 1979, the next time you see it is somewhere between 2035 and 2036.
That's crazy.
I don't know how it got there.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's storyline somewhere that explains it, but I didn't find it. But yeah, that's the events of Secret of the Mimic. That is all I have for today. And that is literally the first game in the series.
That is so interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
And obviously by the time if we end up doing a second episode and there's more information, I'll try to include it. But right now, this is the information I have. But yeah, how do you feel about the first game in the series? And, you know, the timeline that I've laid out for you. Right there again.
I feel like it's devastating, but I really like how much goes into it.
Right?
Like there's so many moving pieces, and all of them fit together so beautifully that it's insane.
Yeah, because, like I said, a lot of the backstory of these games isn't the main focus. Like, you play Five Nights at Freddy's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it's just survive for 5 days. But when you survive, like, to the next night, sometimes you'll get a mini game, and the mini game is where the actual story is at. Like, one of them, you're playing as Springtrap when he's running from, like, he's, like, taking the children to the suits.
For real?
You know, and then
oh my gosh.
And then one of them's when he's running from the ghost children when they finally retaliate. And he's, like, running away, moving through the corridors, but it's, like, 16-bit. And then you see, like, them, like, closing in on him. And then you see him see the Spring Bonnie outfit and then jump into it. But then you hear, like, the clamp noise. And then, like, he starts shaking and then blood shoots out. And then he just, like, collapses because that's when he gets spring-locked. Like, that's where you get the real stories from the mini-games, not the games themselves. I mean, Secret of the Mimic had, like, just straight storyline start to finish when you do the good ending. But otherwise, you have to really look for it in the other games.
That's so crazy.
But yeah, that's all I have for today.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I hope everybody else enjoyed it at least. Yeah.
I know I did.
I'll see you guys in the next one.